How would you sum up the season so far, Joe?
Frustrating, I think, on the whole. Obviously we had the enjoyment of the European campaign at the start of the season and the frustration with that as well, coming close to what we wanted to achieve. And then in the league, I think we've been a little bit stop-start. I think we've shown performances that have been good and probably warranted a bit more from the games. But yeah, just frustrating in a whole, and something that we're wanting to rectify really and get back to how we were last season.
Of course, there's been a lot of attention on the red cards so far this season. What's the talk in the dressing room about that?
I think it's just, obviously I've had a couple myself which I've taken accountability for and have tried my best to learn from that, and I just think that's what we've got to do as a group is learn from those mistakes. Obviously it's frustrating for the people that are getting sent off, but more so for the team and the supporter and the management staff really. It's just something we've got to learn from. We need to learn from it quick, to be honest. And personally myself in training, I've tried to make sure that I stay on my feet more, try to learn from it. It's something I've never had an issue with before. Before this season I had one red card in my whole career. So I think as a team, I wouldn't say we're a dirty team or anything like that. I just think it's been a bit like London buses, it's just all come at once.
Is it just a quirk of the season? Is there any particular reason the way you're playing is a whole this season?
No, because it's the same way we played last year. Having that responsibility to be good 1v1 defenders like all around the pitch. So it's not something that's a tactical issue. I just think it's been something that we have to learn from it as a discipline side of things. Maybe how we tackle or when we go into tackles and stuff like that. So it's something, like I said myself, that I've been trying to work on and take accountability for. So yeah.
When you say the players are going to try and learn from the discipline, is that maybe with the manager? Do you sit down and watch the games afterwards and maybe address a couple of points? Or what?
I think it's just an obvious thing. I'll be honest. The amount of red cards we've had this season, I don't think it's something that, well, I personally see as it's just obvious. Like as a team, we need to get better. We can't be going into games and losing players every week. So I think it's about taking that accountability and making sure that it doesn't happen.
Yeah, but you kind of touched on it a bit there. Like, you know, it's a struggle to get points as it is, and then when you've got a man less, then it's going to make that task even harder. Do you put the red cards down to maybe losing some points this season because of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the games where we've lost men has certainly affected the result. I think it's not, like I say, if you're going into games and you're losing players, it's going to be more difficult. But I think if you look at performances as the season, I think the performances have been there, and then maybe the game's turned in that way. I think you look at the Celtic game, for example, I'd probably say it was our best performance of the season, and I think when you've got 11 players on the pitch, although we didn't get the result that game, it shows people what we are capable of.
And how does it feel then? You know, you had that strong performance against Celtic despite the result, and then you come to Saturday against St Johnstone, maybe not at the same level. You know, where does the drop come from?
I don't think it's really a drop. I think first half, like out of possession, we were good. We caused them problems. They're a team that like to pass the ball around now, and I think they do it quite well. I think we frustrated them. We had opportunities on the counter attack, and then I think second half we probably weren't quite as good out of possession. But I don't know. I just think it's something that sometimes these things can happen. Like obviously. You're not going to be perfect every game, but I think there's signs in each of the games that we've played this season that we are still capable and we can get back to how we were.
And final one for me, Dundee on Saturday. These games, you know, always have plenty of goals. You know, what's it like to play in these kinds of games when it's, you know, intense stuff?
Yeah, like obviously, like you said, there's been lots of goals. From my point of view, I'd rather there wasn't. I'd rather it be. Like we're winning 1-0 and stuff like that, so I think that's something we've got to look at, making sure that we're solid in the fixture and try to reduce the goals conceded, but at the same time keep that attacking threat.
Joe, you've talked a bit about there about how you've kind of changed your own game a wee bit since the red cards. Is that a message from the manager, or is that something you thought yourself you need to have a look at?
I've had a chat with the manager, yeah. he just spoke to me about getting back to how I was last season. Like I said, I've not really experienced this before in my game where I've had like cards, or even I don't really think I really pick up that many yellows normally. So for myself to pick up 2 red cards in such a short space of time is something that I've tried to learn from, take accountability for, and yeah, just address the way I train as well. Probably adapted that a little bit to try and help myself in the match days.
What sort of adaptations is that? Is that maybe in certain scenarios where you wouldn't dive in, where previously you might have slid in for the ball? What sort of things?
Maybe, yeah. I think just trying to maybe slow people down a bit more. I think I'm a defender that likes to be aggressive, likes to put players under pressure, and I think there's times where I've just adapted that a little bit. I think, for example, in the Celtic game, picking up an early booking, then knowing then I'm probably, with the reputation I've probably got this season, I'm a tackle away from picking up a second yellow card. So I made sure that I maybe there was a couple of tackles where I thought, right, I'd normally go in for that, where I just thought, right, we'll just slow them down and stuff like that. And it's just about adapting your game a little bit, really, and learning from mistakes.
Did you fear there was a third one?
No. To be honest, like when I initially went up for the header, I didn't even feel any contact, to be honest, and it wasn't until I was probably stood on the halfway line I thought, oh, I must have caught him. Like, felt like a little bit of something on my arm, but I never knew he was there, never took my eyes off the ball, and I think it's just one of those unfortunate things when 2 people challenge for the ball.
Third time you're playing Dundee in less than a couple of months, is it difficult to come up with anything fresh against them?
Maybe not. I think you can learn from the games, each one. Obviously, the managers will be able to review them games and know that not much has changed in that short period of time, and allows you to set up for them probably like a little bit better because you're more prepared. So I'd imagine it might make it a bit more of a tighter affair and stuff like that because we've played each other like so recently.